Hey, what's up? Back with another video, and today is very exciting for me because today I'm assembling a large Streetport 13B. Now, in my last video, I did the rotor assembly and just basic rundown of how to install control rings, side sills, and springs and stuff like that, whatever. And well, those rotors are for this engine. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around and show you all the stuff that I'm doing. Okay, so I just got irons, housings, whatever, front iron set up on the engine stand. Let's see, everything over here to assemble the short block. So I got used apex sills, new apex sill springs. Let's see, inner and outer coolant O-rings. I forget what these are exactly called. They're like protector liner steel things for the, they go on the housings to protect the inner O-rings. I'll put a little annotation of what those are actually called exactly, but that's what they do. S5 in a eccentric shaft, tension bolts, new tension bolt washer things, new pilot bearing and sill. See, elite rotary solid dowel pins with the drilled through one because I am not using a dry sump setup. So yeah. And I'll go over a little bit more when I'm actually assembling the engine and how to install them and whatever. And assembly lube that I'm using is the Royal Purple Max Tough. Yeah, so by the way, this is the only time Royal Purple products will ever find its way inside of any of my engines is just initial assembly. Regular motor oil, you do not ever want to use that in a rotary engine under any circumstance. It is total garbage and a huge waste of money. It's about double the cost of a regular motor oil. See, I prefer Castrol GTX conventional, which is about half the price of that. And well, it actually protects the bearings, whereas this causes more wear and stuff in rotary engines. So do not ever use Royal Purple motor oil in a rotary engine for regular motor oil. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. And let's get on to assembly. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna go ahead and put some Hylomar on the coolant O-ring channel things. And the way I'm gonna do that, so I don't just gob it all the way to hell and just get it all over the place, use a Q-tip. This stuff is kind of hard. Not hard, but it's thick. With 2 C's. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty damn thick. I don't think it's supposed to be like that. I think it's supposed to be like kind of gummy and stuff. Not gummy, that is gummy. Like more liquidy. Oh well. The whole point of this is because it's tacky and whatever, so it'll hold the O-ring in place. This stuff is really, really sticky. Oh, now it's kind of more liquidy. Yeah, so my plan to not goober it all over the place. Kind of backfired there, but that's okay. I just don't really want to get it like in the housing area, like where the chrome is and stuff. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and time lapse this outer part, and we'll be right back. Okay, that was very annoying and not fun, but now I'm going to go ahead and put the O-rings in. So let's see, if you look at these inner O-ring things, you'll see a little junction right here, and that junction you want to be like where the intake port is. Now where the intake port is on the iron is right about where this hole is, so I'm going to go ahead and line it up with that. pop it in. These are squared and should just fall right into place. You want to make sure that they're not like bound up anywhere or anything like that. So you want to make sure they're nice and evenly seated. I want to make sure they're also not like on the outer flat surface of the housing, because then you'll squish it, pinch it, and that'll be a very bad time. Next, I'm going to go ahead and install one of these O-ring protector things. So these are NLA from Mazda. They stopped shipping them, I think, after 1978. So only in the old school engines before 1979 is when these were available. And this only goes on one side of the housing, and it goes right between the O-ring and the inner part of the water channel. And the job that these do is when ignition and whatever's taking place, these help protect the inner O-rings from, like, you know, heat soak and things like that. It's not entirely clear why Mazda stopped shipping these in engines after, I believe, 1978, but yeah, kind of sucks that they did that, but it's never been a real issue. So I think that it might have just been a cost-saving thing for Mazda. Okay, that's installed. Next, we can go ahead and install the outer control ring. Okay, so these ones are also squared, and there's no right or wrong way to really install them. You just want to make sure they're not like twisted or bound up anywhere. Well, there's a wrong way to install the inner one because of that junction right there, but as long as you get it on the intake part, and the reason you want that on the intake part is because it's the coolest part of the combustion cycle. And if you have that like in the exhaust area or the ignition area, then you run the risk of breaking that junction and you have to pull the engine apart because of a popped O-ring. Nobody wants to do that. I sure shit don't. This hot wire is just a pain in the dick. It is sticky. It does hold and do its job. Well, that's not good. Okay, so I know what I did wrong. So that excess, it's always going to be there no matter what. So I was thinking I got like an oversized O-ring or something like that. But what you actually have to do is, you know, if you have that access, you got to just pull the O-ring down and it'll like fill itself into the groove, and then it'll release that you know, excess and, you know, just work its way in. So yeah, so what I actually did was I took it out of here, worked it out, and then put it back in as I went. And then when I got over here, I started pulling it down, pulling it down, pulling it down, and then all that excess just disappeared. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and assemble the other side, and I will time lapse that. Oh, and before I do that, do not forget your dowel pin O-rings. Use Halomar on those too, and then just pop those in there, same way as the O-rings and stuff like that, except you don't have to fit it like this one. So yeah, that's the only thing I missed here. Okay, so that's one housing down. Dowel O-rings installed on both sides, inner outer O-rings, and also the little protector thingies, whatever they're called. I still don't know what they're called because I haven't looked it up yet. But it's all good to go. And I'm going to go ahead and assemble the other housing off camera. And then next thing you'll see is me getting ready to assemble the engine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start stacking the engine. So if you watched my last video where I assembled the rotors, I marked front and rear rotors with an F and an R, for specs and whatnot. So that's what we're going to start with. So I don't think it really matters exactly where you put the rotor on the housing. You just want to make sure that it lines up where it's supposed to be. Now, because this is a used iron and it has, you know, wear and tear into it, I can see where the housing sat on it before. So it's pretty easy for me to line up where it actually needs to go. Then I'm going to take an old Apex Sill and make sure that the corner sills are lined up on the bottom. See, I'm also going to take out these corner sills, set them off over to the side. It's okay if the spring comes out too, because you don't really need those in right now. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that I have room to put the Apex sills in when I put the housing down. Just make sure you don't lose them or anything. Oh, one thing I did forget to do is put some assembly lube down, which it's okay. Once it's in there, I can move the rotor around and just put some in there. I'm going to cut that tip off. Just the tip. Also, make sure that you have like a oil drain pan or something. I should also be wearing gloves, shouldn't I? Because oil is going to drip down and get everywhere, and I don't want to clean up oil off this garage floor again. Okay, I'm just going to finger the shit out of that bearing. It's okay, it likes it. Go ahead and put lube all around the rotor bearing too. Oh, it shifted. Oops. That's okay. I can reset it. The next thing we want to do is get our dowel pins. Put them right there. Just going to get some assembly lube all the way around the housing first before I put it on. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and put the housing down. So, I'm going to line the dowels up. As long as the rotor's in place where it needs to be, then it should go down without issue.
So you need to scoot back a little bit.
There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and install the rotor with the Apex sills and without springs. And that will keep the corner sills where they need to be.
There you go. That one ain't a lot easier the third time.
Yep. Now I need some kind of small pliers or something, which you can go ahead and put the corner sill springs in. Alright, those are in. So now I'm going to go ahead and install the Apex Sill springs. Oh yeah, those things. So I don't have regular needle nose pliers, so what I'm going to do is pull these out carefully.
see anything else at your best bet.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna line those springs up. I'm gonna take this out more. Get that down. And I'll take the little piece, get it down into the slot. Come out. That one's just about there, so I'm going to really carefully push that down. Alright, that should be in place. Now I can put the corner sill in. Alright, that's good to go now. Do the same for the other ones. Already.
Nice.
I think.
Master engine builder. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm pretty far off from that.
You did. Hey, first step. First step.
Okay. Now I can go ahead and put the corner sill in. I'm gonna make sure there's no debris on there because that can get it stuck.
The springs in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so when you install this, you want to install it. What's the word for that? In conjunction with where the rotor is. Is that a way to say it?
The correct direction, rear with rear.
Make sure you got
Put the
nice
right
lube
side
surfaces.
Put the right side in. There's a couple different ways. Don't goof.
All right, now we are ready to put on the center housing.
Do you want?
And this is where I'll need your help.
Do you want to loop the surface
That's a good idea.
before we drop it on? We can't see it anymore.
So first, I'm going to go ahead and add some lube onto this side.
Alright.
So lift the E-shaft up a little bit from the bottom.
It doesn't want to come. There you go.
Lift it up, keep lifting.
It's pretty much out of the rotor.
Okay, go ahead and lift it back down.
Yeah, it fell out of the rotor, my man. You can't tell how to lift. There it is. Alright, and now we gotta get the
dowel pins lined up.
this one is in, that one's not. It's the one that's pivoting off this one. So that one just needs to go in.
Here's another thing that I'm doing, and that is installing these solid dowel pins. So those dowel pins are coming out anyway. Okay. So now I'm going to use my custom dowel pin holder. It's just 2 bolts welded together.
So what's the benefit of a solid dowel pin?
Rigidity.
Just helps keep the motor.
Yep. That one's installed.
Okay.
That was easy enough.
Do you want both sides to have?
No, so the reason that this one is completely solid and this one has a hole through it is because this is your oil feed hole. Oil goes from the pump through a hole in the front iron and then to your front stack gear, and then all the way through this hole to your rear stack gear, through your oil pressure regulator in the back. So I'm going to go ahead, put some lube down.
And so, is that supposed to be touching the?
It has a little bit more to go down.
Okay, but it will once we compress the.
Yeah, once we start tightening shit down, then
Twerking
it should be fine.
Okay, I was just wondering if that is how they came. So does this Series 5 one have a thermo pellet in it?
It does, and I have a block off thing for it.
And this is where the thermo pellet would be used on, right?
No, that's where the pilot bearing goes.
Oh, that's the pilot bearing right there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the thermo pellet is
In the front.
on this side.
Yeah.
Okay, and it just lets oil run through?
Yep.
And so the blocks oil off completely, or just opens it up completely? Sorry.
I forget if it's open or closed in the stock one. Let's see, I think it's open, and then it allows
The thermo pellet would
it's
just...
like a bypass thing. I forget the exact process it goes in. Okay, that's in.
Now you just gotta wiggle it and not shatter anything. There it goes.
Alright, so on this side, you want this side facing the front of the motor. So it's going to be gear side up from here.
But most likely large Streetport with ported exhaust. Maybe not this big, but larger. And eventually, I want to do a Weber carb kit, 48 IDA. But I understand Holly's better. It's just.
Well, Hollies are better for what I use them for, so I like them, but Webers are good for low end torque.
So Hollies would be what, daily driving?
Yeah, they're great for daily driving. They get pretty good torque and horsepower and stuff like that too.
Still pretty decent gas mileage on top of it for a rotary, which is sweet.
Yep.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. I think it'd just be interesting. You know, it's like you shoving an entire RX-8 rotating assembly that's been balanced. You know, and an old school 13B, like Killer B number 1 or 2. I don't know if we decided.
It'd be 2. Well, technically one for my version of it, but yeah.
Bill's
So
number 2.
yeah, for my version of the Killer B, this is number 2, but I'm building it first.
Yeah, no. That's why I was like, well, 1.5. But yeah, so you know, you're throwing that in there. I kind of want to see. We'd have pretty similar engines. The only difference would be, I would have the Series 5 rotating assembly, and you would have the RX-8 rotating assembly that's been balanced, and you have slightly better compression and less weight.
Yep. And side clearance, so less likely to slap the irons at high RPM.
Yeah, although I don't think I would take this motor up to crazy high RPM before getting it like professionally balanced and clearance like yours did. And if I did that, I probably wouldn't do it on this engine. I want to go with, like, eventually in my lifetime, I want to own a turbo too. FDs are for chumps, but a turbo too. Oh man, that's my only problem with an FDs. They just cost too much to like. You're like, well, I just blew the budget on the whole car, you know.
I think FDs, they usually end up with people in their midlife crises and shit like that.
Yeah. So.
And they treat them just like Corvette guys do. They don't ever actually drive their cars except for maybe every so often.
I like turbo 2s better because it's, cheaper. A lot cheaper. And it's pretty dang close to the same engine.
Series 5 and RW turbo engines, they're...
So that's a Turbo 2 has a 13B RE, right?
A 13B REW, the JC Cosmo has a 13B RE with a huge intake ports and stuff like that.
Did they come factory with giant intake ports?
Yep.
Okay.
I've never seen one in person. I've seen a 20B Cosmo in person, a couple of them, but...
I've seen 2. I thought the silver one was gold. I think I'm a little colorblind, but in my defense, it was snowing that day. Not that helps. It was overcast, shut up.
Yeah, the REW comes in the FD.
Well, what comes in an FC then?
Series 5 turbo and then Series 4 turbo.
Well, yeah. And what's the engine code for it though?
I don't know.
13B REW. I thought the 13B RE was the Turbo 2 turbo, or Turbo 2 engine code.
Yeah, no.
But then they have the same compression, right?
Yeah, the Series 5 turbo has a 9.0 to 1 compression, and same with the REW. And the rotor weights
stayed the same the whole.
I see between the NA, these rotors, NA S5, Turbo 2 S5, and REW rotors, they're all the same weight. I think Cosmo 20V rotors are the same weight too.
Yeah, but these are the highest compression RX-7 rotors.
Yep.
And then, did the Turbo 2, the Series 5 Turbo 2 and the REW have the same compression? I think they're really close.
Yeah, they're the same, 9.0 to 1. The Series 4 had 8.4, I think it's 8.4 to 1, or 8.5 to 1.
Would the lower compression Series 4 rotors be better for a big turbo build?
Yep.
So Series 4 turbo engine.
Well, the engine has the weaker iron castings and stuff.
Oh, that's right. So you'd want the REW irons. Or Series 5, because they fixed them.
There it is.
But the Series 4s, all of them had the issues with the coolant channel.
Oh, okay. All right, so that's all done and out of the way. So now we can go ahead and put the rear iron on.
You're gonna want to, you're gonna want to do this one.
What am I doing? Oh, the lube, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and lube it up, just put it right there. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and put the rear iron on.
Just drops it. It's not on yet. Oh, now it is. You're good.
Go ahead and pop all these on. Okay, so just looking through the Hands manual for 79 through 85, found this torque sequence pattern thing, and oh, there you go. What I do what I have to.
Probably.
And let's see, it says to torque them down to 23 to 27 foot-pounds. Now that might be fine, but you know, this is all used stuff, and according to RX-7 Club, you want to go up to 30 to 35.
Did it say 23 to 27?
23 to 27.
That's what a lot of them were saying, but
Yeah.
30 is
30. Some people you can go up to 40.
yeah. But you're
we'll just go up to
snapping stuff.
35.
We're doing
So-
the 35.
We'll go up to 35.
You might snap them.
So I'm gonna go ahead and set my torque wrench
The only thing.
initially to 20. Okay, so I've got the first torque sequence done. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is put the rear auto counterweight on. Now I'm not putting an auto tran on this, or trans or whatever, but I'm using lightweight flywheel with this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is give a light coat of oil on the rear main sill so that there's some lubrication there. And also, we're gonna need that keyway. That's very important. You wanna make sure that this surface is nice and clean. If there's like some imperfections on it, you wanna take steel wool and just polish it until it's nice and shiny and smooth as can be. And then, of course, put some lubrication on there.
We should hear compression, or no, we won't hear compression. There's no spark plugs.
Okay.
Bad things or good things?
Torque wrench. Okay. All right, let's go back to the torque sequence.
Okay.
Now the reason that I'm turning the motor is so that I get as even torque as possible. I forget exactly what it does, but it also helps break off the little apex sill corner pieces with the glue on them as you're tightening them down. So we can go ahead and time lapse this again. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and torque down to 35 foot-pounds, and then after that 40, and then we should be good from there. Okay, so right now I just have the flywheel temporary installed. That way I can put this flywheel lock thing in place and then lightly not torque these flywheel bolts down, but just get them down enough to hold it in place. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can put about 150 foot-pounds of torque on the E-shaft bolt. I do not have a torque wrench that can go up to 300 foot-pounds, but see, on the RX-8 I got it to 250 foot-pounds, and that's been fine for like 7,000 miles now. So there's also two versions of these flywheel lock things. You have NA RX-7, which is the smaller flywheel. Then you have Turbo RX-7 / RX-8, because the flywheels are interchangeable between both models or the sizes or whatever. So there's the two differences there. You can get those from Mazda Tricks or Atkins Rotary or wherever, or Racing Beat. They all sell the same part. So I think I got mine off eBay through Mazda Tricks' eBay store. So, shit. Just gonna line it up with the holes up here. 17. Okay. And these don't need to be super tight. Once they're just hand tight, then they'll hold just fine. These are 8.8 bolts, so you don't have to worry about breaking them either. Putting, you know, up to 300 foot-pounds, turning the E-shaft bolt. The flywheel bolts are all 14 mil, so I'm just gonna get them hand tight. Just give them a little bit of a nudge. Now, this guy. This flywheel nut is a 54 mil, and these are, you know, fairly expensive. I think I paid like 44 bucks for this, but depending on where you look online, you can get them fairly cheap. I think I bought this off of Mazda Tricks, and it was like 44 bucks. So there's that. I do have an adapter on it because it is, what is it, 3/4?
3/8.
No, 3/8 is the small one.
That's a half one, ain't it?
This is half, and then it goes to the next biggest one, which is like 3/4 or something. And I'm just gonna go ahead and max out this torque wrench to 150 foot-pounds.
I'm still new.
Want my help?
Yeah.
Boy, you gotta realize one thing. I only weigh 185, so I might go flying.
Put your foot right there. Right there is your brace. Ready? Hey!
That's all you needed.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Got a couple extra ads in this one.
Nah, for real, like, comment, subscribe. I'm coming to see you.
Yeah, like, comment, or subscribe. You're not getting what's going in the giveaway for this video either.
Oh, you're doing a giveaway?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna enter.
I'm gonna look for your ass and make sure you guys don't win.
We're gonna give away a front wheel drive automatic. I'm kidding.
1994 Honda Accord.
It's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, whoever
Get
wins
you
that
the
will probably
vintage
send
plate.
payment with it.
No title.
Oh, yeah.
No
Like,
title.
you're giving me this piece of shit? Okay, well, how much you pay me to take this?
No title.
We're gonna give you a picture.
12 owners, missing one
That
fender.
is so funny. We're
But
gonna
you can apply for vintage plates.
Brandwood
so-
Parks.
We're gonna give you the rare item of Noah Washington's face.
Noah Washington face for me.
Yeah, that's the grand prize.
No one knows what he looks like.
No,
He's just a
ghost.
he's just a ding dong on Facebook.
Yeah.
He gets mad at everybody.
He got 4 accounts, and I'm friends with all of them.
Isn't one of them that Drea something?
No, that's an actual girl.
Is it?
Yeah, she posted pictures too. Now I just need for him to hang it up. Hell, he probably ate lunch with us, and we would have never known.
Yeah, you're like,
His probably name is like Matthew or something.
That's probably like a whiter Mexican name too.
Yeah. Got pictures of all our cars inside or out.
It's like, dude, look at all the RX-8s that showed up.
Besides my car, so this is like the drive right in an elite chassis.
You know what I'm thinking?
Look at the Spirit R seats.
So, you know what I'm thinking? And I'm going to say this on your video, that way your subscribers have to make you do it. I think, so you know I have 2 86s, right?
You do?
Yeah. Well, the other one's an FRS. Remember that $700 one?
An actual 86 and then the 86.
No. I have an 86 and then 2 FRSs. Yeah, really. Real life. So the other FRS is a rolling shelf.
Yeah.
I say
Drop.
a fucking Rennie in it and let's run it.
There's a $200 ready on
Shut the fuck up.
KSL or
No.
Facebook or something. It's blown.
That's like dating a bitch with a kid, dude.
Yeah.
That's to be expected.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and test compression pulses just to make sure that it all makes compression noises and stuff. So
$44 to get you another one.
God,
This is our third one.
all right, we got two so far.
Out of what, 6?
Out of 6.
Ooh.
3,
4,
5, 6.
That's a.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if your motor does not sound like that, it's blown.
Take it back. Take it back.
Take it back.
Those sounded pretty damn strong for
Hell
almost
yeah.
a full millimeter of wear on the apex.
I cannot wait to see this back in this car.
Dude, it's
Like
gonna
I
be
said,
This
This is-
isn't the same engine.
No, it's got RX-8 internals, don't it?
No, that's
No,
that one.
this is the S5 rotating.
So I gave him the
Okay.
S5 rotors, and then I'm gonna
Okay.
buy this
Yeah,
off
none,
him.
none of this is the original engine that came out of my car.
Where's the other? Never mind.
Yeah.
On.
Okay, so I did a little bit of a fuck up here, and it's not a huge deal because of some of the other aftermarket parts I'm using. However, when I was assembling this, I did not put sealant on the legs of the housings, which you're supposed to do. It just helps keep oil from coming out of here. However, I put a little bit of silicone, black RTD silicone on the outside underneath where the oil pan is. And also, there shouldn't be too much oil that gets in that area anyway, because it's just splashing oil. Then I'm also using this baffle. It's just oil pan baffle, and it'll keep pretty much all of that oil that would splash up, because it sits just like that, and should be good. But at the same time, this engine is only staying together for 20 to 30,000 miles. This is also my first engine build, so yeah, I fucked up a little bit here and there. But actually turning it over makes good compression from what we can hear just turning it over. And let's see, I'm gonna have to continue the rest of the video later because I do not have a dial thing for setting the end float. So I can't set the front stack tonight, but if I can get a dial indicator thing like tomorrow, then I'll be able to do all that and you'll finish assembly. But so far we got the short block assembled, and I got a killer bee again. So there's my first short block assembly. But yeah, I'm estimating that this engine will go in the car. I'm estimating the engine will be ready to go in the car like next weekend or something like that, and then actually installed in the car either like next Sunday or something, or the weekend after. But this is where I'm at. This is where I'm gonna leave it for right now, and then the next clip will be continuing and stuff. Okay, so in the video, I did mention that I would be doing a giveaway for this video, and that is accurate. And it's nothing big or anything like that, but for people that collect them, might be a little bit special to them or whatever. But I'll go ahead and show you what it's for. Hot Wheels. So we got a couple of SA22Cs and a Street Tuner Series Mazda RX-7 FD. And see, I just collect these personally, and I buy a bunch of extras and stuff like that. And I wanted to share some of these with you guys. And in order to be a part of this giveaway, there's only a couple things you gotta do. First, you gotta be subscribed to this channel. Second, you gotta leave a like on this video. Too easy, right? And then the third, you gotta leave a comment in the comment section below. And I want to know what makes you love rotary engines. Just, what makes you love rotary engines? What makes you like them? What attracts you to them? What initially attracted you to them? Where has it gotten you today? There's no specific like requirement or anything like that. It'll just go based off of my opinion. And if I see genuine emotion in your comments, then you're more than likely to win. The only stipulation is you gotta be in the US. International shipping is just extremely expensive, or can get really expensive and take very, very long time to get to you. So I'm just gonna leave this one in the US only. But, comment section below, leave what you love about rotary engines, and that's it. Anyway, I hope you like this video, and the next week or over the next couple weeks, there should be some finishing up videos coming out, and then installing this engine in the car. So, stay tuned for that. All right, see ya.